So, how does it look? Is my hair good? Do I? It's all I didn't know much about him. Well, that's just not true. I'm not sure exactly what the outcome will be, but definitely not. There are stories that float quietly in the background for years, almost like distant thunder you can hear but can't quite see. And then one day, the storm finally breaks open. That is exactly what happened when Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman at the center of the Epstein empire, began speaking from behind prison walls and whispered a name the world never expected. Meghan Markle, not as a bystander, not as an outsider, but as someone who, according to Maxwell's own words, was way closer to the heart of the Epstein circle than anyone imagined. For years, the public believed Meghan's story began when she met Prince Harry in 2016. But Maxwell's revelations hint at something deeper, older, and way more troubling. A trail of blacked-out testimony, hidden meetings, and a past that someone somewhere desperately wanted erased. This isn't tabloid talk. This isn't internet gossip. This is the part of the story that was locked away in sealed files, whispered in courtrooms, and buried under classified markings. And today, that story begins to unfold. Because to understand the truth behind Meghan's sudden rise, her unexpected entrance into royal life, and why her name appears in the shadows of a case involving some of the world's most powerful people, we have to start where everything was first erased, with the missing hours. When Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony was released to the public, people expected a tidal wave of secrets, names, events, dates, the kind of information that could shake governments and families. But instead, what the world received was a document that looked like it had been attacked by a black marker. Entire paragraphs, entire pages, whole conversations gone. In fact, over 12 hours of Maxwell's spoken testimony never saw daylight at all. 12 hours. Imagine that. That's longer than an average school day, longer than most people sleep at night, and every single minute of it is sealed away. Sources close to the court transcripts hint that these weren't random redactions. These were strategic removals, details so sensitive, so explosive, someone decided the safest option was to bury them. And here is where the story takes its first shocking turn. In those missing hours, those hours that vanished into locked legal vaults, Meghan Markle's name reportedly appeared not in passing, not as a rumor, but in connection to events, people, and circles that are now at the center of this unfolding scandal. Before Meghan ever met Harry, before she became a duchess, before she stood on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, her name was allegedly part of a testimony the world was never meant to hear. This is where the trail begins, and it leads directly to the next piece of the puzzle: the moment Meghan was nearly pulled into the courtroom herself. Long before the royal wedding, before Oprah interviews and Netflix deals, Meghan Markle's name surfaced in a place no one expected: the witness considerations for Virginia Roberts. Virginia, one of the central figures in the Epstein case, reportedly requested Meghan Markle as a witness. Why? Because Meghan, according to her, had direct knowledge of certain individuals, particularly Prince Andrew, before Meghan ever became part of the royal family. This request didn't come from gossip. It came from a woman whose testimony helped expose one of the biggest criminal networks in modern history. If Virginia Roberts believed Meghan had information, it means Meghan was closer to Andrew's world than anyone publicly admitted. Sources say Virginia didn't ask for Meghan because Meghan was famous. She asked because Meghan had allegedly been in social environments where Andrew, Maxwell, and others interacted behind closed doors. For the legal teams, this was a nightmare. Calling Meghan as a witness would have forced her background, her associations, and her early connections under the brightest, harshest spotlight imaginable. But that never happened. Someone somewhere made sure that door stayed closed. And that brings us to one of the most disturbing claims of all: Ghislaine Maxwell's personal admissions about who Meghan used to be and the name she allegedly went by. According to Maxwell's comments from prison, Meghan Markle was known by a different name in her younger years. Flower. Not a stage name, not a character name from a film set, but an alias, one used in adult entertainment spaces and private social circles that operated far away from Hollywood's bright lights. Maxwell claims she knew Meghan not in the polite, distant way celebrities claim to know each other, but in a way that suggests they shared overlapping worlds long before Meghan ever set her sights on British royalty. The alleged nickname Flower was used among certain guests, entertainers, and contacts within Epstein-linked environments. It was whispered in back rooms, on guest lists, and among the people whose lifestyles operated behind the velvet curtain of luxury and secrecy. To a young girl dreaming of fame, this world might have seemed glamorous, powerful, or exciting. But according to Maxwell, this world was anything but safe. And what unsettles investigators isn't the nickname itself, it's what the nickname implies. Meghan was not a stranger to that environment. Meghan had a presence there, and Meghan moved through circles that eventually overlapped with Andrew, Fergie, and others tied to the scandal. If this is true, it changes everything. It means Meghan didn't stumble into the royal world by chance. She didn't enter Buckingham Palace from the outside. She stepped into it from the shadows of a world the monarchy has spent years trying to distance itself from. To understand how Meghan's path crossed into royal territory long before she met Harry, we need to step into the world of private invitations, royal boxes, and quiet corridors where titles matter less than connections. According to multiple sources familiar with events from that era, Meghan was no stranger to the orbits surrounding Prince Andrew. Not as a friend and not as a royal guest, but as someone who appeared on the edges of exclusive gatherings. Back in the early 2000s and into the early 2010s, Prince Andrew frequently attended events with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, dinners, charity galas, private parties. These were not places where ordinary people simply wandered in. Everyone present was either hand-picked or connected to someone powerful. And in those quiet corners, Meghan allegedly appeared. She wasn't yet a duchess. She wasn't yet a household name. But she was an actress trying to climb the ladder, navigating a world where introductions mattered more than resumes. This isn't about her being romantically linked to Andrew, that is never claimed, but it is about her being close enough to witness the people, the atmosphere, the unspoken rules of the room. Sources say Meghan was introduced around this time to various personalities who moved effortlessly between Hollywood, New York, and royal circles.